The most common perception is that banking is boring, it's serious, so it's data.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. Like, when you think of it, it's the most emotional category because what are you most emotional about? You're most emotional about the money that you make and the money that you invest or the money that you give. I think the gift cards are a big hit. We've also seen Paytm go and launch gift cards after that. There is also Shagun money that is now getting put out as a digital money to be given. So you have to go back to what consumers want. So as you scroll, and if you're not there on the feed, it's very difficult to kind of be relevant to the consumer.
Yeah.
And if you want to be on that feed, then you need to constantly generate content. And that content at that agility comes in when you are able to do it at a low cost. In order to do a low cost content production, that's where Kotak Studio was born. The disintegrated nature of our audiences, add to it the tadka of desi values and the fact that we are a country with so many countries within the country. Like, we had a term for it, many Indias within India at Amazon, and that really, India, Bharat as well. The coherence stems from broadly three things. So first, I think the coherence stems from a strong purpose that you define for the brand. So if your brand does not have a brand key, and if your brand does not have a house of brand defined for your brand, then you don't know, or a brand positioning statement, then your messaging is not coherent. There is no tussle between performance and brand marketing anymore. They're all seen as one, and the magic is when you see them as connected and one funnel. So I think that's one big excitement that I get every time I see how things are changing.
Hello and welcome to the HT Brand Leadership Series, a series of one-on-one interactions with top brand and marketing leaders who share their industry insights and strategies that have helped shape their stories. This series, hosted by Hindustan Times, offers a behind-the-scenes look at how leaders adjust their strategies for changing consumer behavior while leveraging media channels and that improve customer relationships. Joining us today is Kedarswamy Ravangave, or as the industry knows him as Kedar, Head of Marketing for Consumer and Commercial Bank at Kotak Mahindra Bank. With a rich career spanning over 15 years, Kedar brings a blend of classic FMCG brand building experience from Marico and new age digital marketing experience from Amazon India, where he led key initiatives across brand, category and performance marketing. Now at Kotak Mahindra, he is poised to steer marketing efforts for one of India's most trusted banks, aiming to position Kotak Mahindra as the go-to financial brand for the aspirational Indian. Kedar, welcome to the series.
Thank you very much. It's quite an elaborate introduction, and suddenly makes you feel that, oh wow, you've done a lot of things in life.
Yes, I want to double click on the versatility part. I understand you're a fitness freak, and you've participated in various Ironmans, and you love climbing summits. Just take our audiences through on what's your fitness regime like.
Interesting. I never thought, and I'll kind of get going around this part of my life. Thanks for asking me. So in addition to a lot of things that I do, I think one part which is extremely important is endurance sports for me, and the journey has been about good 7-8 years now. So I do triathlons, and I have done full distance Ironman, about 3 of them across 3 continents. I've done about 6-7 of the half Ironmans, and I've done a few summits. I think the core reason of picking them was really, it's very important for you to be grounded as you start getting a larger responsibilities and a lot of critical roles at an organization. So, and sports really keeps you grounded because you fail so many times and so fast that an open water swim doesn't feel the same on any given day. So you're reminded constantly that such kind of sports get you back to saying that there's still a lot to be done. And you carry that value as you go back to work. But of course, going to the regime, it's not easy when you are trying to achieve a summit which is 6,000 meter plus, or even an endurance activity like Ironman, which spans more than 15 hours, 16 hours. I think the trick is really about how do you segment your time through the day and then utilize. There's a lot of time that we waste, so I keep my morning hours blocked for it. I'm a little freak. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm out, back by 7, 8, and then get to my work. So carve out your time, and that's how I kind of go about my fitness routine around both Ironman and mountain summits.
That's great, because I think one of the things that most leaders also say, that sports reveals character. And even though it's you are participating in so many activities, I think it also allows you to get close to nature, because Ironman is also about those 3 different kind of activities, which is swimming, running and cycling. So yeah, pretty interesting. Now tell us more about the word Swami over here. Why did you make it go away?
Well, in fact, it's been brought into the name and not go away. So my name is actually Kedar, and that's what my mother tells me, that she's named me as Kedar. But when my grandfather kind of admitted me in the school, my maternal side's surname is Swami. So he'd kind of put my name as Kedar Swami, and all my school documents were Kedar Swami. So when I had applied for passport, it got rejected by saying that you've applied under the name of Kedar, but your documents say Kedar Swami. So I had to publish in the newspaper that my name is changed now, and I'm actually Kedar Swami and not Kedar. And this happened for a trip which was a Bangkok trip after our graduation. So so there are, you can say I have 2 names, but Kedar is more convenient.
So I stand corrected, it's Kedar Swami then.
Yeah, it's Kedar Swami.
Cool. Now let's get to business, when we talk about marketing. I was explaining earlier that versatility is something that comes very easily with you. You've been part of FMCG, e-commerce, and now banking. Very compliant industry. Very 3 different sectors. And so how do you dabble with this new experience at banking, wherein you have to think of the consumer in a very different way, unlike what you were thinking in the FMCG and e-commerce space, where they were looking out for products, but banking is also about pushing products to the consumer. So take us through that.
Yeah, I think, I've been very lucky to have experienced very, very diverse sectors. So what has happened with these sectors is that each sector has left a footprint on my marketing DNA. And when you think of it, one of the things that Marico taught me, or my stint with FMCG really taught me, was being consistent and disciplined about how you're taking those products to consumers, and doing this in a very, very very disciplined way over a very long period of time. On the contrary, with Amazon and in e-com, it was really about agility, speed, and doing this real time and fast and failing fast. Very, very contrasting views to how you go about dealing with your consumers. And there came banking, which is at a juncture where it's a combination of offline and online. And with digital banking and fintech has really forced that trend to happen. So with digital banking coming at the core of it, I think a lot of the values that were learned in FMCG and at Amazon over a decade really helps shape up the way we kind of go about what we want to do in the banking sector as well. Across all, I think one thing which has remained constant is really that start with your customer and answer the question that what is the real problem that you're solving in the customer's life, and it's really just around that, and you're able to then address.
One thing that has become very popular is personalization. Every marketer and every brand wants to cater to their specific cohort in their preferences. And at Amazon, you were doing this very regularly. How are you seeing this translate into your current role?
See, I think again, my journey is also synonymous to how evolution in India is happening in marketing, right? It's been last 10 years where everything has changed quite a lot. And one big realization as I reflect was that, look, personalization is not a layer that you add, right? It has to be the foundation on which you do things. And there was a time when there was a delight where if you were able to even put out a name on a gift that you're sending to someone, right? So from that to now, catering every message to millions of consumer, not just by their names but multiple signals around it. So I think that trend and a mental model shift from adding personalization as a layer to a foundation is very, very core, and that's something that I would own a lot to my e-commerce journey, and that's something that we borrow here. While personalization, the real question is everyone knows today. The thing is that what are the pillars and how do you really drive it? Because the ability to create something which is personalized and hyper personalized, B, having the right data signals, the engagement layers, and also the overall intent based understanding of your segment, and then the final measurement of it, whether to say that okay, it's a combination of what you've created working or not. So for us, we've created all of these capabilities now in banking. It's like borrowing a few things from e-commerce, borrowing a few things from OTT world, borrowing a few things from a traditional brand building way. So we are going after personalization where we have really built a studio in-house which does all content creation. Think of this engine as a quick on-the-fly, easy content that gets created. The signals that are fed are coming through a unified measurement team, whose job is to really kind of take in data which is in-house, as well as signals that come through from social researches XYZ, and then finally you're able to mount them and run on a real-time basis. So I think personalization is enabled by tech, but obviously unless you have a deeper consumer understanding, I think it becomes spamming and not really personalization.
So clearly, even if we cut across all the three sectors, customer centricity doesn't go away. It still is a foundation and pillar for any sector at the end of the day. So how do you pivot your strategy then? Do you is there a specific grammar change that you have when you're conversing with your audiences? Because obviously banking is a little more serious, a little more, it's one of the most important must-have features in anybody's life. You have to have a bank account at the end of the day. So what is your conversation like with the audiences?
Yeah, see, the challenge is not really pivot, right? The challenge is finding the right anchor. And across the three, if you really simplify it and go back to basics and say first principles, what is it that you're trying to solve as a much bigger thing in the consumer's life? Now, when you think of FMCG, and when I go back to my days on building Saffola and Parachute, I think we were not selling hair oils, or we were not selling oats. We were actually trying to, or edible oil for that matter, we were actually trying to help consumers look good and at the same time stay fit. So that was the anchor. Now when you go to Amazon, I think the piece that we were trying to do there was very clearly drive convenience and bring in value in every purchase that you make. So the anchor there was convenience and pricing. Now when you think of banking, I think the most common perception is that banking is boring, it's serious, so it's data. Well, it's not. Like when you think of it, it's the most emotional category, because what are you most emotional about? You're most emotional about the money that you make and the money that you invest or the money that you give, which is why money has been the way you gift people in India for the longest time, even today.
That's great insight.
So I think the anchor here is more around how do you make it more lifestyle? How do you make it more relevant in your everyday? And that's the anchor that is there. So find an anchor, no matter which sector or which industry you go, and then go back to that anchor and build things around it.
I like the fact that you spoke about a very traditional thing of putting cash in envelopes and giving it as gifts, but then our consumer is also changing. Today the expectations are changing. They want speed, they want empathy, they want digital first experiences. So in the world of apps, we're still exchanging envelopes in gift cash envelopes. So how are you aligning marketing to these needs and the consumers also looking at, well, Amazon has gift vouchers too, if I can call that out.
This takes me back to some of the discussions that we had when we were launching Amazon Pay. And this is back in 2019, and I think no one imagined that a lot of consumers would be okay pulling out their phone, scanning and then paying, right? Like QR codes was a no-no.
Yeah.
We've all seen cans winning cases in most countries where they've put up a QR code and action was driven XYZ, and India was always ruled out. I think the adoption of QR code in India has changed a lot of things, including the relationship that you have with money. And when you think of it, the thing about gifting also started changing, because when you see a lot of globalization and also non-regionalization of jobs meant that you are slightly away from your loved ones, and you're still wanting to give them and have things at the time when you have to or you need to. And that's when we had a lot of debate to saying that, okay, will anyone kind of gift money if you were to give them digitally? Because there is something about physical envelope, name on it. There's often that's personalization. That's personalization, right? So, and once you open it, you see it. There is something about it. To our surprise, and I think this was the same experience that I had seen when I had launched mobiles in India. And exclusive mobiles, I launched OnePlus in India, and OnePlus was not there in any store, so you could only see it, you couldn't touch and feel it, and this was a 20,000 plus rupee phone. But we were surprised when people were able to buy it without even touch and feeling it, and offline retail stores was investing heavily on saying that, okay, देखो phone कैसा है और अब देखो use करके देखो, so on and so forth. So I think the same journey happened to finance, and I think the gift cards are a big hit. We've also seen Paytm go and launch gift cards after that. There is also Shagun money that is now getting put out as a digital money to be given. So you have to go back to what consumers want and how they want, and then build it backwards.
Understood.
So
let me deep dive into how Kotak Mahindra is conversing with their audiences. Clearly, there is this whole idea of an aspirational Indian, and you want to cater to this specific customer. But today, compared to 10 years, how has that customer changed? Today, how do you cut a customer?
See, we've all seen this, we all experience this. Emboldened Indian is not seeking permission anymore. They're just seeking access. They don't like gatekeepers anymore. They don't want you to be like, this is what I've produced, you take this, or this is what I'll tell you whether you're eligible or not. And that's an attitude which is reflecting across things that we do. And what that meant for us was also that bank is no more about eligibility. पहले एलिजिबिलिटी आती थी कि अच्छा अब बताओ कि आपका बैंक बैलेंस कितना है, आप कितना कमाते हो, all of that kind of led to what doors will open for you or not. Versus now it's about possibility. You're saying that, okay, hey, what is possible with you? So if you know that, okay, you've been earning something, we know what it would be. So basis your certain income, we know what our possibility is going to be. I think that's a big shift that we acknowledged, and we said that banking is no more about eligibility, it's about possibility. And in that way, what is it? How will you enable this emboldened Indian and not just be a gatekeeper? And as we started developing that, that's when the new position of Kotak came in, which was a true reflection, and the tagline does justice to the thought more than the expression around it, is हौसला है तो हो जाएगा. Because हौसला है तो हो जाएगा in the truest sense is about, you're going to do it, and you're going to achieve it. It's just about going out there and doing it, and you need someone bold enough to back you, and that's where boldness of a bank, which was always considered as banks are not bold, banks are more conservative. The fact that they are very relevant in today's time in the form and manner that we talk. So if you notice our ads, they're a lot more younger, they're a lot more confident, they're a lot more about projections. So we've also realized that consumers today are, they like confidence over caution. And in many ways, they're also moving towards experiences than possessions. Yes. So, and both of it need in the way you are able to also converse. So you would see that across, whether it was our Makhan campaign that we recently did or the Super campaign that we did, and a few that will also come through. I think we are moving in that direction, and that will hopefully change the way banking communication is done. It's no more boring.
Yeah, we are all looking forward to that. If I have to keep in the right direction where Kotak is headed, when you talk about eligibility to possibility, is that an untapped potential, you think? That's a conversation, a narrative that's untapped so far?
Certainly not in the finance domain. I don't think that's been spoken or talked about as much, and it's beginning to happen, especially given especially on the loan side, or especially on the lending piece, where a lot of fintechs have gone into unsecured loans, and that kind of stems from the possibility piece. But there's a whole spectrum in the way a bank can do it, right? With a bank, you don't buy a product, you're investing in your future. So I think that mental model shift has opened up a lot of things on the product side for us, on the proposition, and hence on the communication at large.
Understood. You spoke about fintech, where it's all about data and creating a digital universe. How are you leveraging digital tools today? What is data and automation helping you when you want to take these marketing decisions?
So I think, I don't want to miss out on the buzzword on AI, so I'll plug in this part as well. So see, if you look at it, what we've done is that we've done a lot of fundamental shifts in the way we do our marketing. Our campaigns are no more just campaigns. We see them as connected journeys.
Yes.
I think that's first big shift. The second big shift is that don't look at your marketing as just top funnel or bottom funnel. It's like the entire funnel has collapsed. It's through the funnel marketing.
Media mix now, pure play.
Yeah, I think media mix, in a way, it's connected, and hence you need to change the way you measure, the way you are also able to create content. So the moment you start seeing your plans as full funnel plan, I think that's extremely important, and it's difficult to do it in an environment which is like Kotak, which is half physical, half digital. You could do that very well when everything is online. Like for an Amazon, it was very easy for us to do it because everything was online. All your fulfillment was online, versus even in a Marico, where largely everything was only offline. Things have changed now though, but that was the trick. So I think the entire piece around full funnel marketing, the piece where you're leveraging a lot of DMP tools, the way you are dynamically optimizing your creatives, so DCOs that you build. So our architecture has changed. We have implemented a huge tech stack. A lot of creatives that we are creating is completely automated. So my emailers, my SMS, my WhatsApp, all of these D2C communication have moved to doing all of it through AI. The image creation or the video creation, if you look at my social feed today, I can proudly say at least 90% of it is all AI generated, hands of the wheel and completely on the go. And the journeys are interconnected via DMP, where all of it goes towards only one particular, let's just say a black box, which then kind of connects everything, whether it's messaging or communication across.
Understood. You talked about your own in-house content studio team. How is that coming along when it comes to modern financial marketing? Clearly, you are trying to get up to speed with what the consumer wants. But what is the shift you've seen when you're serving content as opposed to serving it indirectly?
So I think one thing which we have to really appreciate is that trust has got multiple layers today. Trust is about experience. Trust is about how the brand interacts with me, and finally the transparency with which the brand is kind of putting things out to me. And in that journey, one has to realize that brands are not getting built, brands are increasingly getting built on the feed. So I often refer to it as search, and then you should be able to shop, and you should be able to also scroll. So if you're not on these 3S, like we all know about 4Ps that Kotler taught us, and we use that, but right now it's really about these 3S that is there. So as you scroll, and if you're not there on the feed, it's very, very difficult to kind of be relevant to the consumer. And if you want to be on that feed, then you need to constantly generate content. And that content at that agility comes in when you are able to do it at a low cost. In order to do a low cost content production, that's where Kotak Studio was born, because being a bank, you're also very, very conservative about how you're spending the money. It's of course, it's also money that you're taking from people. So for us, being extremely frugal is where Content Studio started. Content Studio can now house and do all forms of content, tabletop videos, interactions like these that we're doing, or even large scale, AI format videos that we're doing. So it's a big enabler for us to kind of create content and do it. And that's also very, very core for us when I said that I want to be a more relevant brand, right? Because Kotak has been a trusted brand. The journey is now to be relevant in the current times, and content is going to play a big role.
So you're looking at what Red Bull is doing, looking at the kind of content, looking at your Ironman ambitions and climbing summits. I'm sure you may want to look at what they are doing.
Yeah, I'm extremely inspired by what they do. I think experiential marketing and the fact that they have their own world is a brilliant case on how consistency is not about sameness, it's about coherence, and that's what that brand teaches us. So it's amazing how they've built it, and I keep looking, one of those few brands that I have kind of gone and followed on my Insta. So a great way, the way they build the brand.
I want to also touch upon that whole funnel conversation that we were having just now, wherein you're talking that it's a full funnel now.
Yes.
But then your audiences are also at different cohorts, at different funnels. So in traditional advertising, you have little mature audiences, whereas on digital, you have a little more young audiences. Obviously, there is some overlap to some extent, but how do you maintain consistency, or rather, I can say brand consistency when you're conversing on these different platforms?
You've picked the right insight on the disintegrated nature of our audiences. Add to it the tadka of desi values and the fact that we are a country with so many countries within the country. Like we had a term for it, many Indias within India at Amazon, and that really, India, Bharat as well. Like there are so many of these, right? So that makes the job of a CMO extremely difficult. But the way this is controlled and the way we kind of keep the whole brand integrated is, like I said, I think firstly what you need to realize is that consistency is not, being consistency is not about sameness. कि सब ऐसा ही दिखना चाहिए or everything should be like this. It's more about coherence, and the coherence stems from broadly three things. So first, I think the coherence stems from a strong purpose that you define for the brand. So if your brand does not have a brand key, and if your brand does not have a house of brand defined for your brand, then you don't know, or a brand positioning statement, then your messaging is not coherent. So that's one piece. The second piece is that while you have that, you need to have one place where you are able to create or design language for the brand is extremely important. So you need to have your own brand book defined extremely clearly and nicely. So, and the greater detail that you define the brand book, the higher chances of your brand looking as one is. And the third piece is to say that, okay, hey, the way you are distributing the content that you have created or the message that you've created. And all of these three kind of help you no matter where you go and how you do. It's really about giving frameworks within which you can play your game. So it's not curbing creativity, but it's about defining a contour. It's like a football game, right? You define a ground and then everyone has their own way of playing it. So we keep that flexible so that there is newness in the message, but at the same time it's one. So if you, again, if you go back to our feed, you can clearly see a before and after where now everything is integrated, everything looks like one, and that's what I think great brands have done, including many other brands that inspire.
Yeah, Apple is doing that very well.
Yes, absolutely.
You spoke about how a CMO's job is even more tougher, considering that you are being exposed to both legacy and new age brands. So what really excites you today when you look at your consumer today? What gives you, oh yeah, that's something that I should double click on?
See, I think as I've grown in my role and in my experience, some of the things that I've realized that marketing does more is beyond just creating brands. It shapes perspective in India, and that's extremely important. Like, there are so many ads that you see, including stuff, very lot of iconic stuff, share the load, so on and so forth. These are movements, right? Like, some of these things really help you where you're seeing, and that's what a marketeer's job is. A marketeer is able to shape a narrative, not just for the brand, but also for the larger masses, and of course for everything internally. So I think that's one big thing that really excites me. Smaller trends that are there, which are current, which have changed the game, is that, like I kept saying, that the funnel has collapsed. So there is no tussle between performance and brand marketing anymore. They're all seen as one, and the magic is when you see them as connected and one funnel. So I think that's one big excitement that I get every time I see how things are changing. And one big shift that I'm also noticing is that return of emotion over return of investment, and all companies are understanding that it's not just about what business numbers that you're getting out of your campaign, but it's also about cultural relevance and how you've been able to build or put your brand into that. I think these are the three things that really excite and what we do. So
it's very refreshing to hear that you've put culture ahead of everything, because culture eats strategy for breakfast. So you just said it in your own words, because usually it's a very tough conversation for marketers also, because there's so much of indulgence, or rather so much of stress on ROI. So I think you're balancing it pretty well when it comes to ROI as well as brand building and optics, if I can say it in a layman's word.
See, on that, I learned this. I owe this to really my initial days at Amazon, where there is a saying that goes there, that anything that is not measurable is not scalable. So there was a lot of rigor around every penny that you put has to be measured, and there wasn't a no for an answer, even if you're doing digital, even if you're doing offline, whatever it is. So the muscle around measurement is extremely important. The reason why a lot of boardroom conversations go down south, especially for marketers, is because you don't have a measurement handle. There's no causality or correlation that you're able to bring in with the investments that you make. So the first thing that you really need to do is that go back and build those measurement mechanisms for you to have the right on the table, and once you do that, then you know how those investments are panning out, even if it's about cultural relevance or if it's about the business outcomes that you're driving.
So clearly the success metrics have to be predefined, and then I think everything takes care of itself then.
The ability to measure them. I think while there is success metrics that most organizations are goal driven, but whether you're able to measure that in the right way and the right metric, I think that's the trick.
So what's the right formula today if a young marketer wants to cut across different sectors, from FMCG to tech, or from tech to banking? What would be your mantra, or what would be your trade secret?
See, I think there is a lot of misnomers that we all carry कि ये sector boring होता है, यहाँ पे marketing ठीक नहीं है, FMCG is the place where marketing सीखते हो, फिर e-commerce जाओगे तो fast करोगे, और आप अगर banking boring है. I think don't go by all of that. Understand and see what is the bigger problem that you're solving for consumers' life. And in the way, if you identify that's and if that excites you, then pick that sector and go after it. So I think that's first that I have learned over a period of time. The second is that don't carry your playbooks, really carry your principles that you've learned. So I can't carry the playbooks that have worked in a e-commerce as is, or have worked in a CPG business as is, but it's about those principles that have worked and carry them. The third thing is really to say, when you go in with a very clear sense of purpose and ability to experiment and fail. Don't take yourself too seriously.
But there's so much fear of failure today among the young.
I'm seeing a big trend where actually more and more youngsters are less worried about, they have a larger sense of purpose, and they are actually able to experiment a lot more easier than the first generations that we are, where we were still looking for security.
Correct.
So that's a good trend. It's just about the culture that you build should be in a way that you are able to experiment and fail fast. So. And lastly, don't carry your labels that were there in the past. I think carry the values that you have there. That's what I would say for the folks that are looking to make a move.
I want to touch upon more on the trends. Obviously, the boardroom dynamics also come into play over here, wherein there's so much emphasis on data and ROI. What is your conversation like with the CTOs and the CFOs, where you're trying to get budgets out and showing them the roadmap that this is how I'm going to have my touch point with the customer, and this is how you will probably define a success metric. At the same time, trying to keep culture in the front.
See, I think if you go back and go back to the Harvard Business Reviews and all of it that defined marketing earlier, right? There was sales team, and there was a finance team, and there was a marketing team, and there used to be invariably a tussle between a sales and the marketing team, and then a CFO would have a point of view. I think throw in the mix now a CTO.
Yes.
Now, when you throw CTO in the mix, I think one thing which you have to go back is what anchors all of them together is the common customer problem that you're trying to solve. And there's no better, if you're a great marketer, you're able to really bring the real consumer problem, and you are the chair of the consumer, right? You're representing them. So if you articulate and come to a common point where, if you just draw 3 concentric circles and say, hey, what are the common goals that we are all working towards, and optimize things for that. In that case, for a CTO, what is it? It's really about the journeys that they have to build for whatever product that they are trying to build. The fact that the journeys are built in a relevant way, so you converge there. And the fact that you're able to give them signals which can optimize everything that they do on the fly. So these are 3 things where you're able to converge. And if you don't converge on these 3 things, then you're at loggerheads. So it's a good tip is to really go back and agree at the inception of the product, and also agree on the way you kind of see those journeys together. And then comes the magic of your world, your communication, the language, tone and manner, all of that. So to me, the partnership with the CTO is always about how this is going to change the consumer's life and how it's making it frictionless. So
awesome. So Kedar, I'm going to now touch upon leadership. Obviously, I don't want to talk on a very philosophical way, but at the end of the day, we are, as leaders, you're building teams, and what conversation you want to have with the consumer, you want to ensure that the team also continues having it. So any special values or any special direction that you want the team to take with them?
See, as far as marketing is concerned and building organizations, so I have seen a lot of things change for me. Marico was a very small team, very small marketing team, about 20-30 odd people together, the entire marketing. Then Amazon was about a 40 people team for me, and then now here is about more than 100 people in the marketing team. What I've realized in this is that firstly, marketing cannot be built by command.
Right.
You really need to have the culture and let the culture be the thing that you live by, you celebrate and you tolerate. And as that culture becomes a part of you is when it starts reflecting into the way you have your conversations with the consumer, the way you start creating. Because marketing is extremely about what you feel, and it's a reflection about a lot about you and your organization and the culture. So that's extremely important. And a culture which is not about hierarchy, a culture which is about data and logic trumps hierarchy. And I must say this is something which I really learned at Amazon, where you don't talk people by sir or madam XYZ. You talk to them by their name. You don't talk to their label. You don't talk to their hierarchy. You really talk to them as individuals.
As persons.
As individuals, and that was a big shift. So
that's a cultural shift in India.
Absolutely, and coming from a Indian company to a company where this was absolutely okay was a big one, and I do see a lot of merit in it. And there's a lot of hesitation even today where people don't want to call you by name. They would still want to prefix some salutations before it, but it kind of restricts a lot of logic and data that one can bring in, because look, insights and great work can come from anywhere in marketing, and you have to respect that. So you have to breed that culture over command. The other piece that I've also learned across the years is that purpose is extremely important for the team, and nothing can bring the team together than a larger purpose. We were obsessed at Marico, where we wanted to help a consumer look good. We were obsessed at Amazon in transforming the way people buy. And now I think we are obsessed in the way we want people to really have a relationship with their money. So the way you're able to bring in the entire relationship or giving a sense of purpose to them helps bring in clarity, takes away chaos, and lastly, just treat them as your friends. At the end of the day, they are just part of your life as much. You end up spending more time with your team than people at home. So those are the values that are there.
I want to also extend this question wherein you talked about building the right kind of culture with not only with your team but also they having a relationship with the consumer, because at the end of the day, banking is also about trust. And if somebody is giving their earnings and depositing it with you, so there's a certain responsibility and trust. So how are you working on building that specific factor?
See, trust is not just about longevity anymore. कि इस brand के साथ मैं इतने सारा time हूँ is not trust anymore, right? Trust is really about consistency that one feels with the brand, and consistency at every touch point. When you are talking to them over a call, when you are seeing an ad, when you experience a product, so on and so forth. So as you're trying to be consistent, I think there are three things that you unpeel, trust and see. I think one is experience, so consistency in the way the experience is driven. The second piece is that while experience is consistent, is there relevance in what you're trying to do? Because trust is built when it is relevant. If I tell you that, okay, hey, you don't have a kid, and I tell you that, okay, hey, here is a diaper for you, you're not going to like it. So I think relevance plays an extremely important role, and being consistent in being relevant is the second piece, and largely transparency. Look, in today's world where you're trying to be super personal, hyper personal, if you start, the consumer starts feeling that you're breaking the line where you're peeping into their personal life, it's never going to work. So transparency is extremely important, and that is what you have to go. You have to be constantly paranoid about. And lastly, it's not the case where what the brand says and people will take it as what they say. So it's the action and what you're doing as an act is what helps build trust for you. So I think that's how it translates for us in the way we drive it across.
Having said that, I'm going to touch upon a question on creativity off the pitch. What inspires your creativity? A book, a habit, a mentor? Where do you seek inspiration?
I think that's a brilliant question. So I would say three things that really have helped me. To me, my endurance sports does a lot to me, because at one end it keeps me grounded, at the same time it keeps me motivated, and in a sport there is so much that you learn every time that you go, and I do something which is very, very close to nature, so there's a lot of inspiration that comes from there, and a lot of success stories around and people that you see around shapes that. The second piece which also helps me a lot in terms of staying grounded and motivated is my son. He's about 10 years old, and the good part about him is that he doesn't ask me why, he asks me why not.
Yes.
So the curiosity with which they say the world, and there's just that raw curiosity kind of feeds a lot of things. And the last piece is that I always go back to the old campaigns. And the old campaigns always reinforce us the belief in letting the creative partners take on, and that's so important between the boardrooms and briefs to to execution, I think we often get lost in it. So it's important that you go back and look at the best piece of work and say, hey, the magic of belief works more than the magic of data or even writing a great brief. So yeah, I think these are the three things that I often go back to.
Kedar, it was brilliantly captured. I thank you for coming and giving time to us. And since you spoke about looking at old campaigns, I wish you more success with more Kona Kotak stories, and I wish you all the best and the success.
Thank you, man. Lovely conversation, and I hope the viewers enjoy it too.
Absolutely, they will. Thank you, Kedar, for this insightful conversation. Your ability to weave together brand discipline and deep customer insights across categories is what makes you a standout marketer in today's dynamic India. We wish you great success in this new chapter at Kotak and look forward to seeing how you shape the brand's journey for the aspirational Indian. Stay tuned for more such conversations on the HT Brand Leadership Series. See you soon.